What if the Battle of Endor wasn't won by the rebellion at all? What if the Empire's defeat was orchestrated by one of its own Grand Admirals to stop something far worse? The Grysk Hegemony had been infiltrating the galaxy for years, turning heroes into traitors and planting agents in every government. Thrawn's intelligence revealed they would invade within 10 months of Endor's conclusion, and both the Empire and Rebellion were so thoroughly compromised that neither could survive. Grand Admiral Thrawn had one choice: destroy the Empire to save the galaxy. This is how the greatest military mind in history committed treason to win a war no one else knew was being fought. 3 years before the Battle of Yavin, the Chiss Ascendancy sent Mithral Nuruodo into Imperial service with a desperate mission. The Grysk Hegemony had conquered 17 civilizations in the unknown regions, and the Chiss were losing. They needed someone inside who could prepare defenses before the Grysk arrived. That someone was Thrawn. What the Chiss didn't know was that the Grysk had already arrived, infiltrating the galaxy for over a decade and placing agents throughout the Empire and Rebellion. Thrawn discovered the pattern within 6 months of joining the Imperial Navy. A promising young officer named Eli Vanto, assigned as his translator, reported subtle inconsistencies in intelligence reports from the Outer Rim. Mon Mothma's inner circle included advisors who consistently recommended strategies that endangered rebel cells. Imperial Admiral Dod Rancet's sabotage operations seemed designed to fail at critical moments, prolonging the conflict rather than ending it. These weren't isolated incidents of incompetence or corruption. They were surgical strikes against both sides of the galactic civil war, weakening both factions simultaneously. The Grysk had analyzed thousands of years of galactic history and identified a fundamental truth: let your enemies destroy each other, then walk in and claim what remains. By the time of the Battle of Yavin, Thrawn had identified 47 confirmed Grysk agents embedded in Imperial and Rebel command structures. He couldn't expose them without revealing his counterintelligence network, and he couldn't eliminate them without alerting the Grysk that they had been discovered. Worse, his analysis revealed a terrifying timeline. The Grysk had been following a predictable pattern across thousands of years of conquest. They infiltrated for approximately 8 to 12 years, then invaded at the moment of maximum chaos in their target civilization. Based on when their agents had begun appearing in the galaxy, Thrawn calculated the invasion would occur between 4 and 5 years after Yavin. His intelligence network tracked Grysk preparations in the unknown regions, monitoring fleet movements and supply buildups. The data pointed to a specific window, approximately 10 to 12 months after the Empire's inevitable collapse. They would face a fractured empire and an infant republic both riddled with sleeper agents. The galaxy would fall within 6 months of their arrival. But 47 agents was just the beginning. As Thrawn's counterintelligence network expanded over the next 4 years, the true scale of the infiltration became clear. By the time of Endor, he had identified over 400 Grysk operatives throughout both factions, with more being discovered every month. The infection ran deeper than anyone could have imagined. Thrawn calculated every possible scenario. In simulations where the Empire won the Civil War, the Grysk invasion succeeded with 98% certainty. In scenarios where the Rebellion won, the success rate was 99.2%. There was only one variable that changed the outcome: the complete destruction of both major factions' command structures before the invasion began. The galaxy needed to be unified under emergency military rule, with all compromised leaders eliminated. Simply warning the Empire or Rebellion would fail. Palpatine would respond with paranoid purges that would eliminate loyal officers alongside infiltrators, weakening the military even further. The Rebellion's democratic processes would paralyze them in debate, while Grysk agents manipulated the discussions. Both sides were too compromised, too predictable in their responses. To save civilization, Thrawn would have to commit the greatest act of treason in galactic history. He would have to ensure the Empire lost at Endor, but lost in a way that purged the Grysk infection from both sides. The plan Thrawn devised would horrify anyone who learned of it, He would sabotage the Empire's defense at Endor while simultaneously purging Grysk agents from both sides. Thrawn himself was in the unknown regions during the Battle of Endor, commanding expeditionary forces against threats the Empire didn't acknowledge. But his intelligence network reached everywhere. Admiral Piet's staff officers, carefully cultivated over years, fed him falsified intelligence reports about rebel capabilities. The Executor's chief technician, one of Thrawn's deep cover operatives, introduced subtle calibration errors into the sensor grid during routine maintenance. Grand Moff Jerjerod's security protocols for the second Death Star were altered by a junior officer who believed he was following Imperial intelligence directives. Thrawn didn't need to be at Endor to control it. He had spent years placing people in positions where they could execute his plan without ever knowing they were serving his true agenda. The rebels couldn't simply win. They needed to win in a specific way that eliminated Palpatine and Vader while leaving the Imperial fleet damaged but intact. Thrawn's agents fed intelligence to Bothan's spies about the Death Star, but the data was carefully edited. Imperial Star Destroyer numbers understated, shield generator strength overstated. Everything calibrated to devastate both sides. The Rebellion would lose half its capital ship strength. The Empire would lose its Emperor and superweapon. In the chaos, Thrawn would purge Grysk infiltrators, while both factions were too distracted to notice. Emperor Palpatine suspected nothing. He believed the rebels were walking into a trap of his own design, never realizing that Thrawn had turned the Emperor's arrogance into a weapon. Palpatine's insistence on personally overseeing the battle at Endor, his certainty that he could corrupt Luke Skywalker, his refusal to listen to tactical advice, all of these traits made him predictable, and predictable enemies are dead enemies. When the Executor's bridge shields failed at the critical moment, when Admiral Piet's sensor operators missed the rebel fleet until it was too late, when the Death Star's reactor core proved vulnerable to starfighter attack, none of these were accidents, they were execution. The Battle of Endor unfolded exactly as Thrawn had calculated. The rebels committed approximately 40 capital ships to the engagement and lost 19 of them, including the Independence and the Liberty. Over 40,000 rebel personnel died in the engagement. Admiral Akbar's flagship Home 1 suffered catastrophic damage when a precisely targeted torpedo salvo destroyed the forward command decks, killing most of his senior staff. The attack appeared to come from Imperial forces, but was actually executed by a Grysk infiltrator positioned aboard a rebel cruiser. The infiltrator died when their ship was destroyed moments later, eliminating the Grysk agent while making it appear to be collateral damage. Akbar himself survived only because he had been in the secondary command center coordinating starfighter operations. Simultaneously, Palpatine and Vader perished as expected, and the Imperial fleet scattered in confusion. Within 72 hours of Endor, Thrawn eliminated 31 Grysk agents. Some died in battle. Some were executed by unknowing allies fed evidence of treason. Some simply disappeared. The Rebellion celebrated victory, never knowing their losses were targeted eliminations. Thrawn remained in the unknown regions, operating through intermediaries. His position as an outsider was why the Grysk hadn't identified him as the architect of their failing operation. The moment he emerged, they would know and adapt. In the months that followed, Thrawn's shadow war intensified. His forces struck at apparent New Republic targets, each attack serving a hidden purpose. The Bothan spy net's central hub destruction killed 300 operatives. The New Republic mourned them as heroes. They didn't know 247 were Grysk agents. Thrawn had purged the Republic's intelligence service while appearing their greatest enemy. Every attack against the New Republic targeted the Grysk infiltration. The Grysk, watching, accelerated their timetable. The Grysk War began without fanfare, no declarations, no opening salvos, no fleet engagements. Key New Republic leaders made inexplicably poor decisions. Senators advocating military readiness suddenly argued for demilitarization. Imperial warlords turned on each other. Supply convoys disappeared, communications failed. Throughout the galaxy, people whispered that Imperial order had been better than this chaos. Thrawn recognized the Grysk invasion's opening moves. Conventional military responses would fail. Every fleet would find empty space. Every tracking attempt would hit dead ends. The Grysk had perfected these tactics over centuries, but they made one error. Assuming the Empire's collapse meant the end of coordinated resistance, they didn't account for Thrawn's contingency planning. Thrawn's network wasn't designed to stop the Grysk through military force. It was designed to do exactly what they did: infiltrate, manipulate, turn their tactics against them. Every enslaved client species became a potential weakness. Every planted infiltrator became a known variable for false information. Every perfected attack pattern was predictable to someone who had studied their methods as thoroughly as Thrawn. The Grysk invasion began 8 months after Endor, 2 months ahead of schedule. Thrawn's counter-operations had forced them to accelerate. The New Republic was still forming, arguing about structures and budgets. Senator Bel Iblis had walked out after Mon Mothma proposed centralizing military authority. The Bothan spy net was rebuilding after Thrawn destroyed its hub, killing 300 operatives to purge agents. The New Republic saw it as Imperial attack. Admiral Akbar struggled to reorganize a fleet that lost half its capital strength. The galaxy was divided, distracted, defenseless. The Grysk didn't announce arrival. The weakened spy net went dark. Senator Wartol proposed eliminating the military. Kashyyyk descended into civil war over fabricated disputes. Thrawn recognized these as systematic dismantling operations. Within 2 weeks, the New Republic would eliminate 70% of naval forces. Akbar would be forced into retirement, removing the New Republic's most experienced leader. The Wookiees would destroy themselves. The Grysk wouldn't need their own fleets, but Thrawn's counter-operation was in motion. Tolwar Wartol's aide suffered a tragic accident, and recovered evidence revealed connections to unknown alien intelligence. The scandal destroyed Wartol's career and halted demilitarization. On Kashyyyk, a mysterious third party provided intelligence exposing the manufactured conflict. The Wookiees redirected fury toward the actual enemy. Within days, they eliminated Grysk infiltrators operating on their homeworld for over a decade. Thrawn maintained his cover as Imperial warlord. Every action saving the New Republic appeared as attack against it. When his forces attacked Bilbringi shipyards, the New Republic believed he was stealing ships. The truth: the chief engineer was a Grysk agent who had sabotaged every capital ship built there for 18 months. The fleet was riddled with structural weaknesses that would cause catastrophic failures in real engagement. The Invisible War climaxed at Bilbringi. The New Republic sent a massive task force believing Thrawn was stealing ships. His forces were outnumbered 3-1. What they didn't expect: their own ships turning on each other mid-battle. Grysk sleeper agents, activated by combat stress, attempted sabotage, but Thrawn had identified every agent months earlier. They activated, attempted sabotage, then were eliminated by pre-positioned, loyal officers. The battle appeared a New Republic victory. Thrawn retreated, forces scattered. But the Grysk infiltration was completely eliminated. The casualties were staggering. 4 New Republic Star Cruisers destroyed, 7 Imperial Star Destroyers lost, 14,000 dead on both sides, hidden within, 96 Grysk agents eliminated across the New Republic fleet, the Bothan spy net rebuilt under loyal leadership. Mon Mothma, nearly assassinated by a Grysk agent posing as her physician, survived and continued building governmental structures. Thrawn disappeared into the unknown regions aboard Chimera. The galaxy believed he was defeated. The Grysk knew better. Bilbringi forced the Grysk to reassess completely. Their operational plan depended on maintaining sleeper agents in key positions. Those agents were gone, their intelligence compromised. Most disturbing, they'd been outmaneuvered by a single Imperial officer who understood their methods well enough to predict and counter every move. The Grysk High Command made a decision unprecedented in their 3,000-year history. They withdrew from active invasion, not defeated in battle, but because the galaxy had become genuinely dangerous in ways they hadn't anticipated. Thrawn's victory came with a price that reshaped galactic history. Akbar survived where Grysk agents intended to kill him. He served another 20 years, building the New Republic fleet into a formidable force. The Bothan spy net, purged of infiltrators, became the most effective intelligence service rather than a compromised liability. Mon Mothma's survival meant the New Republic developed stronger central authority, preventing warlord fragmentation. The galaxy inherited was harder won, bloodier, but ultimately more stable. The cost was measured in the thousands who died at Bilbringi, the operatives who were executed as suspected traitors when they were actually loyal, and the Imperial forces who fought and died believing they were serving the Empire when they were actually serving something larger. Thrawn calculated the total casualties across all his operations: 40,000 at Endor, 14,000 at Bilbringi, another 8,000 in covert eliminations and targeted strikes across dozens of worlds over 8 years. Approximately 62,000 individuals died directly because of his actions. He also calculated that without those deaths, the Grysk invasion would have killed 40 billion within 5 years. The mathematics of genocide are simple. The morality is not. History would remember Thrawn as a villain because the galaxy he saved would never know it needed saving. Thrawn's mission wasn't complete. The Grysk had withdrawn, not destroyed. They were regrouping, preparing for a second invasion in a generation or two. Thrawn needed to be there, continuing the war no one else knew existed. After Bilbringi, Thrawn retreated into the unknown regions. He encountered Ezra Bridger, who had vanished years earlier. Ezra had sacrificed himself to save Lothal, pulling an Imperial officer into hyperspace. But that officer wasn't Thrawn. The Grand Admiral's operations kept him far from Lothal. Governor Pryce's crisis was managed by a different commander, whom Ezra pulled into the dark reaches. Ezra had survived alone since, searching for home. When he encountered Thrawn and saw evidence of the Grysk threat, everything changed. Isolated, surrounded by threats neither could face alone, confronted with the mathematical certainty of galactic extinction, Ezra made a choice that would have seemed impossible. Thrawn taught. He showed Ezra ruins of civilizations destroyed by the Grysk. Ezra understood. They became reluctant allies, holding the line against horrors the New Republic would never see. The New Republic that emerged from this altered timeline was fundamentally different. Without constant Grysk manipulation, the governmental conflicts that should have paralyzed it for years resolved faster. Without compromised intelligence networks, threats were identified and neutralized efficiently. Without sleeper agents sabotaging military development, the fleet grew stronger. When the First Order rose from the ashes of the Empire 30 years later, they faced a new republic that hadn't been weakened by decades of internal subversion. The war that followed was still devastating, but it was winnable in ways it wouldn't have been without Thrawn's intervention. The galaxy had been saved by treason, protected by murder, and secured by a villain who would never be thanked for what he had done. The galaxy Thrawn left behind would never know his name as anything other than villain. The hero was Admiral Akbar, who survived Endor and built the fleet. Mon Mothma, who created stable government. The thousands who fought at Bilbringi, never knowing they executed a counterintelligence operation. A secret war requires secret soldiers. A hidden victory demands invisible heroes. But in the unknown regions, where Thrawn and Ezra waged their lonely campaign, something was changing. The Grysk were not the ancient threat the Chiss had been fighting. They were refugees, running from something else. Something that made their 3,000-year empire of conquest look like children hiding from monsters in the dark. If you've enjoyed this journey through an alternate Star Wars timeline, there are more untold stories waiting to be discovered. Join our growing community of Star Wars enthusiasts who believe in exploring these what-if moments that could have changed the galaxy far, far away. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and activate notifications to catch our next alternative Star Wars story. Each tale offers a new perspective on the characters we love and the choices that define them. Remember to share your thoughts in the comments below. What other pivotal moments in the Star Wars saga would you like to see explored differently? Your ideas might inspire our next adventure. May the Force be with you, always.